Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
On Amazon Music.
I can see something. It's not her, it's somebody else. So I guess you can see us. I just have it pointed up.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, can you all hear me all right?
Oh yeah, now.
Yes.
Hi. Were you hearing the music or no?
A little.
Oh, okay. Next time I'll remember to turn it up. Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome. Thank you for taking part of your Sunday to be with us today. Exciting times. As I was sitting with my non-physical partners, the professors, and I was writing the article about the Aquarius stellium and the Saturn square Uranus and so much stuff. There was so much excitement building that I realized there was no way I could put it all into written form. So welcome. Hi, Mare. And also welcome to everybody who's going to watch on the recording. We're going to work and talk with the professors today. The professors are going to come in to talk, but just know that even though you're not here for the live, it doesn't matter. The energy is still the same for you. Whatever energy is embedded in this communication is there for you as well, whether you listen, whether you're here live or not. So I'm just gonna let them talk. It's interesting because many of my friends know I don't read or listen to other channelers. Not because I'm a snob about it or anything. It's just that I don't want to be influenced by anything I might hear from somebody else. But what I find fascinating is one of my dear friends always shares things from other channelers. And I find it fascinating and exciting and just just a sheer joy to see that we're all basically saying the same thing. All of our non-physical teams are basically saying the same thing. And we don't talk. We don't talk to each other. You know, those of us who are channelers, we generally don't talk to each other. I don't. We don't really share like that. So it's really fascinating and joyful for me to see that we're all bringing in the same information. And we're bringing it through differently, but it all syncs up. And there's a lot of excitement here with this month. So everybody take a nice deep breath. Make sure, please, that your mics are muted. I would appreciate that greatly. A recording will be available once we're finished. It should automatically be sent out. So let me just take a nice deep breath. And let's let the professors talk. The professors, for those of you who are not familiar, are a large group of non-physicals that I partner with. They're made up mostly of ascended masters, those who have lived on the earth, those who have transcended the karmic wheel, who have left the earth experience for good, and who have gone back to into full blending with their soul, just to put it very simply. So what I appreciate about them is that they understand the earth experience. They don't give us a pass. As humans, they don't give us a pass, but they understand the human condition, and they understand what life can be like on earth. So let me take a couple of deep breaths. I'm excited. I'm not even nervous. I'm just so excited. And good day to you, dear ones. We are wanting to cut right to the chase today. We are not going to get into the different planets that are in alignment, and we are not going to get into any of that. If you are wanting to research that, you can easily do that on your internet. You can easily do that on your internet, dear ones, or Stacey's interjecting. You can go to the article that she wrote either on her personal page or on her Radiant Sources page on your internet, on your Facebook. But you can go on your internet and find a whole plethora of information there. What we are really wanting to take the time to discuss with you today is about the energies that are so available to you. But first, let us speak about split in consciousness. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, there are different bands of frequency that is on your planet. Most of you are familiar with this 3D. Now, it is not your human 3D when it comes to your human senses. It is something very different. And dimensions too are not places. They are bands of frequency. So when we refer to 3D, what we are referring to is this frequency, this energetic, this band of living in a very limited way of beingness. In other words, living in duality, living in polarity, us against them, all of this. And you are seeing this very prevalent on your planet. That is one end, that is one side of this consciousness split that we are talking about. Those who are deeply immersed in the limited, very limited three-dimensional band. Now, it is not a judgment that we say this. that it is very limited. It just is. It is the way the Earth game was originally set up for you to play within this 3D, which is really one of the lowest frequencies in the bands of frequencies or dimensions. But now you also have those who are who have spent much who have been on a path where they are raising and pivoting from seeing things in the 3D, the separation, the duality, the polarity, all of that. Us against them, I am so small, all of this, I have no power. This is all involved within the third dimensional frequency. Now you have those, also many on the planet, who pivoted and who moved into a different dimensional frequency, moving into first four, then upper four, because even within the dimensions, even within those frequencies, there are different frequencies. So there are some who pivoted and moved into the four, the high four, and now the Aquarian age into which you have landed as of your solstice, your winter solstice, 2021, summer solstice for those of you who are on the other side of the planet. You firmly landed in the Aquarian age. And with this now, there is a lifting, there's a lifting of those of you who are wanting more, who are wanting to move into this expansion, into the higher dimensional frequencies. And the Aquarian age, the Aquarian energies are ushering in the lower 5D vibrations. And the lower 5D, when you start going into the fourth and fifth dimensional frequencies, what they become about is you awaken. In the lower four, you start awakening to where you realize that there is more to a way of beingness than just what your human eyes are showing you or what you are experiencing on the planet. You start to recognize that you are not so little. You start to recognize that you are a great spirit being simply having a human experience. From there, you start moving into more expansion. Notice, we are not saying you start going up the tier. We say that you start moving into more expansion. So perhaps 3D dimension is like this. And then you start going into fourth, high fourth, mid fourth, high fourth, fifth, you start expanding out. That's what dimensions are. They are nothing outside of you, dear ones, nothing outside of you. So now what you are seeing here on your planet is a great split in consciousness. Your politics especially is showing you this, where you are having some who are who are wanting to dive deep into conspiracy and us against them, diving, and that's really what conspiracy is. Conspiracy is thinking that others or they or them are out to get you. You see, that is deep, deep, deep polarity. That is deep, deep, deep duality. That is deep, deep, deep separation. And you are seeing how so many now who are really diving deep into that. And then on the other side of that, on the other side of the split, you are seeing those who are moving, who, in other words, on this side, those who are going deep into conspiracy, well, they are already in this narrow area. They cannot see beyond their blinders, you see. But what they've done is they've brought the blinders in even more. And it is all appropriate. Each of you on the planet has your own journey. So we are not judging this. We are simply telling you what is. And so what has happened is their blinders have come in even more to give them an even narrower view. In other words, focus. For those of you on the other side, moving into expansion, well, your blinders are off, you see. Your blinders are off and you are wanting to move into into a more expansive state where you are able to look over and see, well, I see the game that they are playing, but it does not need to be a game I play. You are reaching and expanding into more, bringing in more of that soul being that you are. Because when you start moving into these higher dimensions or these more expansive dimensions, this is a natural byproduct of this, you see. So you have been seeing for the last 13 months, especially of your time here on the planet, this great splitting in consciousness. It is like a big rubber band that was being stretched and stretched and stretched until it snapped. And here you are in the snapping point. Now, for those who are still wanting to play in that narrow 3D, that is appropriate for them. They are going through their own experiences and they are learning in their own way. For those of you now who are here, well, these Aquarian energies now are going to come into play to fully support you in wanting to move into more expansion and wanting to move it. And when you are moving into more expansion, it means you are bringing in more of your higher self, your soul self. And when you are doing that, life becomes very joyous for you. It does not mean that you are not still experiencing some human sadness or anger or things like that, but you do not linger there. It is a very different experience than what you are here. And what you are here is the us against them. When you are in this more expanded space, it is only you, dear one. It is only you. You are moving into more of you. And when you move into more of you, you realize there is no us and them. It is all you. Now, how is this going to play out? Well, first we are wanting to address this split in consciousness. The ones who are choosing to stay in 3D, which, let's face it, it is the majority of humanity at this point. Um, these energies that are coming in are creating great pressure. Great pressure. They are very benevolent energies. Now, how it has the great potential to play out in the 3D, and we are not saying any of this to put you into fear, dear ones. We are simply saying this to make you aware so that if and when these situations do present themselves, you are knowing that all is appropriate and it is working out for the benevolence of all. Now, the great potentials for how it will play out in your 3D, in that us versus them, in that muck and mire. How that will great potentially play out there is you have this Aquarius stellium, and it has all of these planets uh, who are bringing very benevolent energies to your planet in support of humanity. But you also have the push and pull of Saturn, dear Saturn and dear Uranus. And this is where this is really the crux of the matter here. The Aquarius stellium what it does is it creates an almost how can we say, a laser focus. So you are going to see those who are in conspiracy and those who are just playing in the lower vibration of three-dimensional frequency. You are going to see you are going to see more of a laser focus in that, and seeing it even expanding even more, and things really coming to a head and blowing up. Now, we are not saying that things will blow up literally, but with this push and pull energy, Saturn is wanting to keep things safe. Saturn is wanting to keep the status quo. Saturn is wanting to keep restrictions in place. Saturn is wanting to basically just keep things as they are. Uranus, your dear friend Uranus, is the great awakener, and many times Uranus, and let's be honest here, humans really don't take notice unless sometimes they are rudely awakened or really awakened in a very big way, in a very shocking way. So this is very much the energy that has the greatest potential to play out here in the macrocosm, in the larger, in the collective, for those who are playing these games. Now, you have already seen uprisings, especially here in your United States, and it is happening all over your planet in different pockets, in different lands. You are having people standing up. You are having, they are wanting to throw off the bonds of slavery, many people. And this is where dear Uranus comes in as the great awakener. Uh, Oftentimes, Uranus is also considered the rude. It is usually awakening through a rude awakening, through something very shocking. Um, and and so in this case, you can look for certain things to play out on the world landscape. Some more uprisings, indeed. There could even be some sort of smaller revolution. Our revolution is not necessarily a bad thing. Neither is uprising, rebellion. None of that is really a bad thing. Certainly, you have changed and brought much change about. Humans through the eons have brought much change through the groundswell of humans standing up and wanting to take back some, and having a voice and wanting to take back some control. So you are going to see, this is the greatest potential to see on the world scene some more uprisings, things that can quite honestly shock you. Um, we are not going to want to get into particulars of that because in truth it really has nothing to do with those of you who are present here today, and those of you who will watch the recording. There is a reason why you are involved in this visit with us today. It is because that you are not in alignment with those energies. Take a deep breath with that, dear ones. Really pull that in. Make that part of you. You are not part of this.
Stacey, you're frozen. I'll send her an email.
It is interesting. It is all going to work out for the benefit of all. And it is very interesting to us. Uh, are you hearing and seeing us now? Yes, yes. So it is very interesting that even though this is going on over here, know that it is all working out to the benefit of all of humanity. You see, Saturn wants to keep the masses like this, and Saturn plays a beautiful role. You see, you cannot, how do you say, basically the human experience is about, you allow yourself to experience one thing in order to realize perhaps you don't want it anymore, or perhaps you want more of it. But the thing is, your planet here allows you the experiences to go into things you may not want in order to experience it, and then realize you want something else, and being able to shift it. So Saturn has played a beautiful role on your planet when it comes to this. Saturn, your dear friend Saturn gets a bad rap many times. It is known as the planet of restriction. It is known as the planet of restriction. The bands around it are like bands that keep you enslaved. And so Saturn is known as the planet of restriction. But dear ones, you needed to go into restriction. You see, when you are in the non-physical, there is no restriction. So dear Saturn said, well, when you go into the earth experience, I can bring in the energy of restriction so you can see how that feels and work your way out of it. You see, on a soul level, you want the experience. On a human level, it is a little different. But on a soul level, you are wanting this experience. So dear Saturn stepped up to the plate and took on that role. So now Saturn is the planet of great restriction. And you are seeing, especially since, especially the last 18 years or more on your planet, there has almost been a lockdown in what you are calling your freedoms. And on a collective level, you all allowed for that. You went deeper into restriction, deeper into having perhaps freedoms taken away. And now you are saying, oh, this is uncomfortable. I do not like this, but you did it to experience it. Collectively, you all did it to experience it, you see, to see what that was like. But the last 18 years or a little bit more of your Earth time now, it has gone deeper, and it's become too much for the collective consciousness. It's become too much for humanity. Oh, those are in the 3D. Oh, we need this because we are in fear of everything. So we need these restrictions. We need all of this. But those of you who have pivoted now are not wanting that anymore. You are wanting to live as free, expansive beings. So, and this is what this energy is coming in to support for you. Now, while it will play out a certain way in the larger collective, it will play out, these energies will very much play out very differently for you. Now, it is a little tricky in that as you are moving through this energy, perhaps you are feeling certain restrictions in your body. You are feeling limited movement. You are feeling aches and pains. Perhaps you are feeling as if some of your body's normal sleep schedule is off, or your eating patterns are off. Exhaustion is part of this. And this is nothing new to many of you who have been through this before. Exhaustion is a great part of this. And what is happening here is too, because you are dealing with the push-pull energy, and because you're on planet Earth, you are going to feel it, but you're going to feel it in that sort of way. You may also feel it in that certain things from this thing you call your past coming up, for you to revisit certain things where you felt that you were in deep limitation and restriction within yourself, within your relationships. It could be in the form of perhaps you felt restricted just within yourself and being able to express. You felt restricted in your relationships. You felt restricted, confined in job, perhaps restricted, confined in your state of beingness in your life in general. Perhaps you are feeling a little stagnant, and of course, your COVID helped to really bring that to the fore, because your movements were limited as well. You see, have been limited as well. So these energies can and very well present themselves in this way for you. But it is a very graceful way in comparison to how it's going to play out into the collective. We are not even really wanting to go too much there. In fact, let us close the curtain and not look there. But for you, dear ones, it is different in that that's where you will more than likely feel the restriction. You may have certain other things come up in your bodies. Perhaps you are finding perhaps that your immune system has been suppressed, has been restricted, and it may present itself in certain ways where you're going to have to go to the doctor and or take some scientific medicines or any of your natural or homeopathic remedies. But just know that all is well and it is all in alignment with what you are going through because you are setting yourself free in the process, you see. While as these things come up for you, they're allowing you to take a look. And now here, dear Mercury comes in, and dear Mercury is in this thing that you call retrograde. It almost seems as if Mercury is going backwards, but really what it is it's slowing things down, sort of pumping the brakes, because this is great big energy that's coming in. Great big energy. So it is of no coincidence that Mercury is in retrograde during this time as well. It helps to pump the brakes and slow things down for you. Otherwise, your circuits would overload and you very well could leave the planet through death. So Mercury comes in and offers a little bit of pumping those brakes and slowing down the energies a bit for you. And as it is, the energies are ramping up. You are already in them. You have entered them, and now you are moving fully. You're moving into the bigness of it. And so just be aware when certain things come up for you. Now, what do you do? If something of discomfort comes up for you, whether it's an emotional discomfort, a physical discomfort, well, physical, we would always say to you, take a deep breath, take several deep breaths, talk to your bodies. But you must also, Stacey is interjecting, yes, sometimes you must go to the doctor as well. And your scientific community, your medical community, and make no mistake about this, your medical community is guided also. There are many within your medical community who are guided by the higher realms to come up with different drugs for you, to come up with different treatments for you, in order to balance the physical body so that you can concentrate on moving more fully into your expansion and living the life that you are wanting to live in pure joy and grace and all of that, you see. So don't negate your medical community, but always listen to yourself as well. So you may have some of these come up. Oh, so you take a deep breath, drink your water. It is so important. We always stress in every visit we have with you, dear beings. We always stress how important the breath is, and we're not talking about this automatic breathing that the body does on its own. We're talking about taking a nice, deep, conscious breath through your nose, holding it for a moment, and exhale. There is much. There is much behind this as well, which we're not going to want to get into. But trust us when we tell you, the breath does more for you than anything, really. And stay hydrated. These energies are high vibrating, which means they create a lot of heat. Now, you may not feel the heat physically in your body. You may not feel it, but your cells are moving. Everything is moving. Your field is vibrating. Everything is vibrating. And that creates a sort of dehydration in the body. Not a sort of, it creates a dehydration in the body. And what happens when there is dehydration in the body? Well, the physical symptoms that you may already be experiencing will amplify, or you will experience others on top of that. Water, dear ones, this is your saving grace, and the breath. And just be with it. Reach out to one another. Find your tribe, dear ones. Find the ones who are understanding you. Now, also understand when we encourage you, and this is support is very, very important, and it is not spoken enough about, especially by those of us in the non-physical. But we have been human, and we understand what other human support means. So it is very important for you to also find, even if it is just one person, it is very important for you to find your tribe. It is very important for you to have support and for you to be a support for others. It's very cyclical here, reciprocal. And what happens here, and in finding those, oh, do not find those who will commiserate with you. How do you say on the planet here? Misery loves company. Oh, you will create more misery within your physical body and within your mental body and within your emotional body. Find those who will acknowledge perhaps what you are wanting to talk about. Perhaps you are wanting to complain a bit, which is fine. Do not negate that human side of you. It is totally yes. So perhaps you are wanting to complain. Oh, I feel stiff. I don't feel the same. I keep feeling this way. Oh, my head is cloudy. I'm so tired. This aches me. I never had this before. All I was doing was sitting and my shoulders started hurting. Stacy is interjecting because this is what happened with her the other evening. She was just sitting, no movement, and pain in the shoulder. Um, so express that, but you are wanting as someone who is going to acknowledge it and say, let's breathe together. Did you drink your water? You see, let me hug you. You're not wanting to be around those who are going to bring you deeper, deeper, deeper into the rabbit hole of, I don't feel good. You see, so be very conscious of that, dear ones. Your human support, so the support of other humans is very important. And this is wonderful. Even your COVID, you see what it has done, even with your being able to connect with each other through these electronic devices. So you can still have these connections. It is no coincidence your COVID showed up the way it did before this great Aquarian energy swept in. It is no coincidence that all of this technology came to the fore for you. It is so that you can stay connected, regardless of needing to perhaps be in some restriction as to where you can actually go and move to. So we cannot stress that enough as well, dear ones, to have this support system with each other, even if it is one other human being. Find that support and be that support. Even on your social media, dear ones, even on your social media, be mindful of what you are sharing. Look to encourage, because in the encouraging of others, you are building yourself up. Again, it is all reciprocal, dear ones, all reciprocal. So suffice it to say, the split in consciousness, it has happened. It is there. And you are on the other side of the chasm. This is sort of a wasteland at the moment. This side, it is sort of post-apocalypse. You are knowing your movies when you are seeing these post-apocalyptic movies. Everything is desolate and it is a wasteland, and people wearing respirators and masks and all of this interesting. But here, and then there's this huge chasm. And then on this side, there is everything your heart desires. There is anything your human is wanting to desire. It is here. You are sort of in a little paradise over here. But you are able to look across the chasm. You are still able to see what's across this expansive chasm that exists between the two consciousnesses. You are able to look across that chasm and send love, and send love. But dear ones, we strongly advise against jumping into that chasm and trying to get up on the other side. Do not even play there. You work too hard to get over here, you see. So enjoy it. Do not go into guilt if you are not feeling panic and fear. Mm-mm. Bless that you do not feel panic and fear when you are observing what is going on over here. Because from your vantage point, you can maintain a balance. You can send balance through sending love. And this is how you will help those who are playing in this part of consciousness help to pivot and move over. You need not preach to them. You need not say, oh, we listened to the professors the other day. You need to listen. No, none of that. It is simply about being in your state of beingness, being in your peaceful state of beingness, being in your balanced state of beingness, and just looking over and sending love. They will get it. They will get it. And consciousness is shifting. Things are going to come crashing down here, both figuratively and literally. Things are going to come crashing down here. Bless it all. Bless it all. New worlds are created through the chaos, and you are on the precipice of a new world. Give yourselves a hand, dear one, because collectively, even the ones who are walking now with these even thin blinders, collectively, you have all helped to have this happen so that you can shift what no longer serves the whole. This thing of that, even the chasm of the haves and the have-nots, that must go away. That must go away. Every being on the planet deserves to have everything its heart desires. Every being on the planet deserves a roof over their head, food on their table, you see. So bless this mess, for out of it, equity will come. We are going through our notes to see if there was anything else we are wanting to share at this time. No, we think that we will open it up for some questions to dear ones. How does that sound to you? Indeed. 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 Questions, dear ones. What we would ask, though, is please do not ask about your dead loved ones. Do not ask about any of that. Ask about what is pertinent to you and now, and to your expansion and your growth and your development and your life in this moment and moving. Also, yes, ask questions like that. Ask questions that if you are wanting us to expand on something that we talked about today. But please, dear ones, do not go into these other. We will tell you your loved ones are fine. They're all fine. In fact, they are part of here. They are here sitting in the peanut gallery. Indeed, indeed. Questions, dear ones. Do not be shy. Ask your questions. Stacey is asking for, well, actually, it is Madame Blavatsky who is wanting this.
Meaning to ask about these sparkly eye headaches that come on. They don't last long. They sort of shimmer around, they obliterate your vision, and you have to just wait for them to pass. They're called by the masses eye migraines. Doesn't always come with a headache, though. I've had a lot of them lately. That's why I'm asking.
Indeed, dear Mary. These are experiences that many of you all have the same sort of symptoms when you are going into a major energetic shift, when you are moving, especially some will call it timeline jumps, we call it dimensional jumps. It is the same thing. So when you are moving into and understand when you go into the for those of you who are in the fourth now and wanting to expand more into to the fifth, those of you who are anywhere in the lower fourth and moving into the expansion of the fifth, the lower fifth, what happens is in between there are these things that you call upgrades. But really what they are is they are dimensional shifts, because even within the dimensions, there are bands of frequency within the dimension that you move in between. And many times, for those of you who experience this, and there are many of you on the planet who experience this, dear Mary, it is going back and forth between these higher dimensions and back and going back and forth. And there's a certain amount of pressure that is there. Now you may not feel the actual physical head pressure, but there is some eye pressure there. Because it affects your physical body, you see. It affects your field, which obviously affects your body. But you are aware enough to know to rest. Whenever anything like this shows up, always rest. And also anything with the eyes, it is more about well, we do not want to get there because it does not really apply here. But we will say for some, anything with the eyes, when you're having trouble, perhaps your vision goes in and out, or you are seeing different things. For those of you, especially who are a little newer at this, that this thing we call expansion, ascension, it's called by many different names. It doesn't really matter. We prefer expansion. When you are moving more into this expansion, your physical eyes also are, your physical body is getting used to certain things, and your eyes help the physical body to ascertain its physical world. With your eyes really is how you lead in the physical world. You see, you move to where you are seeing. So your eyes get affected by this. Yeah, perhaps there is even sometimes a disorientation when it comes to the eyes. Perhaps you are getting floaties. Now, again, Stacey is interjecting. Sometimes, yes, there is a need to go to the doctor and have that addressed. But always know that anything that shows up in your physical body always has to do with something emotional or something that's happening in your energetic field. But dear Mary, you are aware enough to know that you need to take breaks. Stacy is interjecting, saying, yes, Mary takes breaks. Yes, you are aware enough to know when that happens, just take breaks. You be very, very kind to yourselves, dear ones, especially over the next few months. Starting now and moving into the next few months, be very, very kind to yourselves. Um, Saturn, we told you, is the planet of boundaries, is the planet of restriction. It is also the planet of boundaries, and for many of you who lead with your heart, and we will say most of you here, all of you here, really, who are joining live or joining in the recording, you have all in your whole life experience, in your current life experience, you've all led with your hearts. You led with a very, very open heart, and did not learn boundaries, did not learn to say no, did not learn to put yourself first. For those of you who, especially who are mothers, wives, and mothers, even if you are mother to 4 children, they always come. Everything and everyone always comes before you. You see. So now here, dear Saturn, now certain restrictions come up in the body, and dear Saturn is showing you, set your damn boundaries. Take care of yourself first. Now, COVID came along and gave many of you the out. Oh, no, I can't do this. COVID. Oh, I can't do this. COVID. Because you could not give yourself the out. Part of the reason why COVID came in is it gave you all a great big out where you could say no without guilt or shame. Now, here comes Saturn and says, the other side of Saturn is set those damn boundaries. Honor self first. Take very, very good care, not of yourselves, not just of your bodies, but of your emotional and mental well-being, especially because you are dealing with all of this huge Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy in your astrology is an air sign, and the air signs are having to do with communication, with thought processes, belief systems, everything of the mind, all of that, everything of that. It is all involved with that. And so you will also find that some of your belief systems will shift. Some of your belief systems about yourself will shift. Your belief system, whether you are small, will expand to where, screw that, I am huge. Your belief system, and that you must sacrifice for others, you will say, oh, no, no, no. And the interesting thing is, you already have this on your planet, where you say, no, in order to be of benefit to others, I must be of benefit. I must take care of myself first. Yes, but do you really believe it, dear ones? So yes, dear Mary, excellent, excellent, because thank you for asking that, because it allowed us to expand on a bit more. You see how questions go? We do not just answer the question, we are able to go into more expansion on other things as well, dear ones. You see.
May I?
Ah, indeed, dear Marie, welcome.
Hi, thanks. I've been on a wellness journey for several months, and I feel that I've been more successful in doing that than I've ever been. And I'm wondering if that support from this Aquarian energy, and I feel like I will continue to take better care of myself and feel better and better.
Indeed, first of all, good job in saying yes more to self. Good job in saying yes more to self. Indeed, this Aquarian energy is about expansing. It is about focus. So you have been focused on your wellness. Now, what happens is the Aquarian energy comes in and allows for expansion on that focus. So be very mindful, dear ones, of what you are focusing on as well. If you have been focusing on expanding on, if you have been wanting to expand on something, if you have been in a very comfortable place and a joyous place with something, and you are wanting to expand on it, well, this Aquarian energy cannot not help you expand on it. Aquarian energy is the most expansive energy you have, and the way it is coming in is bigger than you have ever experienced it ever throughout the eons on your planet. It is so big, and this is why Stacey was so excited and wanting to come through and having us come and talk, because we showed her how big it was and how beneficial it was. Now, conversely, you have those who are focusing on perhaps things, the smaller things. And again, we are going into this side, all the yuck. Now you're going to have those who are going to focus there as well. That too will expand, and that's why you are going to see certain things occur on your planet, because what you focus on expands. And under this huge umbrella energy of Aquarius and Uranus, who is its ruling planet, and you also have Uranus squaring against Saturn. Watch for the big explosion of expansion. Also, you have a new moon in Aquarius. Well, first of all, you are already in a new beginning. Now, here you are in a new beginning already, as of your December 21. In this new beginning, landed. Think on that, dear ones. Here you were in physical form to witness the great shift and landing into the Aquarian age. The age of expansion, the age of humanitarianism, the age of technology. Watch what's going to happen on these scores. Huge. But now here you are in your month of February, and you are in now this major blow up of the Aquarian energy, this major, huge, massive umbrella that you are under, this huge energy. It is, you will not experience such a huge energy the way you are now. It is all about new beginnings, you see. This is the biggest new beginning, even bigger than that which you thought you experienced in 2012. New beginnings. And now here you have a new moon also in Aquarius. Now, how can you use that energy? It is just you can create ceremony and ritual around it if you want to. You can light candles, you can play music, you can burn incense, you can go outside and be in nature, which we would always encourage anyway. You can create great ceremony around this new moon and focusing, remember, laser focus, focusing on what it is that you are wanting to expand on. Or you can just take some deep breaths and sit quietly with you. And in your mind's eye, play in that imagination, dear ones. We have said it in our weekly visits with you in our other group, where we say to you, your imagination is more real than anything you can see, anything you lay your physical eyes on. Take a deep breath with that, dear ones. Indeed. So you can use the new moon, you can use all of this, bring it all in. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Indeed, dear ones, you can dance. You can dance with this. Stacey is wanting to cry because we are bringing, there's so much joy around this. And she is just feeling all overwhelmed with the joy. Now, we would say to you, the energies are even available to you right now if you want to celebrate the new moon right now. Because truly, there is no time and space. There is none of that. There is so everything is available to you. This is why we say, even for those of you who will watch the recording, it is as if you watching the recording will be as if you are here with us in this moment, energetically speaking. You see, time is but a thing that you only mark because you have calendars, huh? or clocks. And so, but if you want to wait to the actual new moon to do this, and Stacey, well, we are asked always, there are side conversations going on between us and our dear Stacey, and Stacey is saying that she will write, she's volunteering to write a little bit about that, to put that more in written form for you to have it. So we will do that, but you can even sit on that night, or that night, or when it is, and you can just be with it. Just this whole month, create, let the whole month, you use the month of December, it is the month of lights, and you are celebrating all of your light filled holidays. February is that month. February is like a month. This time of February that you are in, dear ones, is like nothing before. Like nothing before. Indeed, we have said that there was nothing that you can reach back to into the past to bring in. There is no touchstone that you can reach back to anymore to say, oh, yes, this February was like last February, or this February was like February of whatever. No, you are in totally brand new, pure, clean. The energy that is coming in is so golden, so pure, so expansive. It is no wonder why even your bodies are reacting the way they are to it, because it is such high frequency. It is so pure. But you can do it and you can handle it. If you could not, you would not be receiving it, dear ones. Indeed. Thank you for asking your question, dear Marie. Any other questions, dear ones? Thank you for allowing us to expand. Any other questions, dear ones? Are we missing? Stacey is recognizing she needs to scroll through to see. Indeed. Any other questions? If not, yes, dear Marie. Yes.
Just wondering how COVID will play out over the months ahead.
Indeed. Your excellent question. Your COVID, everything that happens on your planet is a matter of consciousness. Yes, your science, it is a germ, it is a disease, it is a virus, blah, blah, blah. But viruses, this is a totally different discussion for another day. But your virus that came in was really created by an act of consciousness, collective consciousness. Now, it is not that you all got together and sent out the beam, let us bring a pandemic, let us bring a pandemic. It is not that you did that, but mass consciousness, for those of you who are not aware, mass consciousness is like a big pool. All of every being, every human thought ever thunk goes into this pool. And when it reaches, and when enough thoughts come together to reach critical mass, something is created. There was a great call for awakening. A great call now for humanity to move out, for more of humanity to move out of 3D. Now, not all will. We're going to say that right now. Not all will. Some are very, very happy playing there, and it is appropriate for them. Do not judge it. It is appropriate. It just is. It is their soul's trajectory. It is what they are doing. There is no judgment there. But critical mass said, well, there are more who want to awaken and pivot and move into more expansion. And so your friend COVID showed up. It also provided an exit point from the planet for many because their journeys were so difficult. There were so many who left because they realized that they realized that there was so much going on that they would never be able to move into that expansion in the lifestyle or the way of beingness that they were in. So COVID came and said, okay, we're going to open up a huge door so that there can be a mass exit for you all. And they're all here, dear ones. Now, we understand from a human perspective that's a little difficult, and we understand the human misses the physical presence of those who have left the planet. Indeed. We are not belittling and we are not negating or making light of it. But there has been so much celebration in the near Earth realms for those who have left the planet. They are in constant celebration. We have to stomp on the floor and tell them to keep the noise down. You see, there's so much celebration going on. So, and this is why we said, do not ask about your loved ones. They were all fine. So COVID came to create this mass awakening. Now, it also helped to precipitate this shift, this split in consciousness as well. In that COVID also brought about more conspiracy. And COVID also brought about more expansion. Many of you who went into this quarantine have discovered new gifts and talents. You have also discovered that you would rather be joyfully restricted to your homes than having to go to your jobs every day. You see, you gave yourselves freedom even there. So how will COVID go? Well, it really depends on the mass consciousness. As this vaccination has come out, it's sort of easing the mind, and there's not so much fear around it. Also, remember, anything you focus on expands. So COVID became the focus, so it kept expanding. So now that there's going to be less and less fear around it with the vaccination that's out, which also, dear ones, use your own innate wisdom when it comes to accepting the vaccination. There are some of you who tend to be in this place of expansion where you are not wanting the medical profession to be involved in at all, and you are not wanting to take these vaccinations. That is fine. But as we said even earlier, your medical science, there are many within your medical science who are receiving direct divine guidance. They're not really aware of it, but they are receiving guidance on how to create these things in order to create ease in the humans, because now it is time for things to settle down. So So the more the vaccinations come out, the more fear goes away and the more the COVID will go away. The way we are reading the energy in this moment, it's still going to be very present with you probably through the end of this year. Not the way it's not to the degree it's been. There will be there will be more freedoms, there will be more freedom of movement involved. You will see things much more opening. Things are never going to be as they were prior to your time of COVID, though. You see, the masses have gotten a taste of freedom, of not having to go to their jobs. Even the bosses got a taste of freedom and not having to carry the burden of renting space anymore. You also have those who have gone into deep lack. They call it food insecurity, housing insecurity. You see, all of this comes together to create a mass awakening and a mass shift into this thing that we spoke about earlier, this thing of equity, everyone having enough. You see, so there are many great gifts within this, but as of right now it will still be lingering. You will be wearing your masks and things like that, and taking your keeping your distancing, more than likely, as the way we're reading the energy now throughout through to the end of your year. Perhaps by the time of your next big light holidays, things will be lessened up quite a bit. But nothing is ever going to be the same. Bless it. You don't want it to be the same. Indeed. Excellent question. Thank you again, dear Marie. Anyone else before we end this? No? Okay. With that, dear ones, we thank you so much for the time. We are so excited for you. We are so excited for you. In fact, there's some of us who've been sort of chit-chattering and saying, well, maybe we'll just create a body real quick and pop in just to feel how the energy feels. Because you are living in, and we know we have said this before, you are living in unprecedented times. But each time a wave of energy comes in, it truly is unprecedented times, because you are building on the wave that came before it. So even the next wave that will come in quite some time will even be bigger than this one. But right now, in this now moment, in this now, in this present, take a deep breath with us, dear ones. Put on your party hats. Get your noisemakers. Make some noise and enjoy. We love you very dearly. Very dearly. Good job, dear ones. Good job. And with that, we wish you a very good day.
Good.
Everyone, yeah, that was good. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you. That was good. I'm going to go back and listen to it. I mean, I heard everything they were saying, but I want to go back and listen to it. I could.
What happened to you? Goodbye, girls.
Frozen again.
See you next time.
Bye.
Probably be out to you within the next hour. I'm going to end this. Thank you again for taking some of your Sunday to be here with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.